Just about 2 months ago, I made a video reviewing War Thunder, which did pretty good, so now I'm here to milk that and make another video that's almost the same. This video will be focused on things that I like to see be added to War Thunder or changed, which is, these are just my opinions, but I still think that the game would be better if these things were to happen. Some changes I'm proposing is just quality of life, interesting mechanics, or massively talked about problems in War Thunder. So strap in, get some snacks, and enjoy. The first thing up that I would like to see is a feature that me and my friend Soma came up with together. It was mostly him, which, hear me out, renting out vehicles to friends. What I mean by this is that if you have a vehicle and a friend in game that you can give this vehicle to, this person, for a certain amount of time, will get this vehicle as in like a test drive. So you can no longer play this vehicle yourself, but your friend can. Just to make it a bit more interesting, I would make it personally so that the person receiving the vehicle would not get any research for themselves, but instead get, you know, research for this person or no research at all. But of course, just to make this like fair for the person receiving the vehicle, they would still get SL from playing it. The reason I want this is that it's kind of like a way to play something that you want. So, like, let's say you're going to Grand America and your friend has a plane in America you want. Now you can test this vehicle from your friend and you can see if you want to grant it or not. Next up, pretty obvious decompression. You know, what did you expect? Almost every player in this community agrees that the BRs are too compressed. If you are new or don't understand what this means, let me explain. War Thunder has a battle rating system where you can, you know, play a vehicle, and this vehicle has a rating based on its abilities in battle. And any vehicle can only face vehicles 1 BR above and below. So this means that if you're flying a 10-3 jet, you can only fight 9-3 jets or 11-3 jets. That's the highest and lowest it will go. And Warframe BRs are very compressed right now. We have props from post World War One all the way up to 2006, which is almost 100 years difference at this point. And the highest BR is only 13.7. This is a pretty big problem because some planes or tanks here and there can't go up a BR because it would underperform severely, but it also can go down because then it would just overperform and crush everything. If BRs were a lot less compressed, this wouldn't be a problem. If the max BR was maybe 4 to 6 times higher than it is right now, compression would be a thing of the past. Another point related to BRs is that in high tier, you see a lot of people bring props up to jet battles, which isn't funny anymore. Like, it's the same joke for many years now, and it's just a waste of either one, two, or three teammate spots on your team. This is especially a problem if you're lucky enough to get a 12v12 game. But if Gaijin was to lower player counts even more, which I'll get into later, then this bringing up props problem is going to be way more annoying because then 3 of 8 players will just be props. I think that there should be some kind of restriction whenever you squad up with someone, so every person in the squad has to be within 1 BR of each other. So if one person is 10-3, one person is 10-7, then the highest person can only be 11-3 and the lowest person can be 9-7, if that makes sense. Next up, research. I mean, this point is kind of debatable between some people, but research in Warframe is very slow. Some people say that they like grinding and it's slow enough for them, but for me personally, I think it's way too slow if you're playing free to play. Like, if you want to get every plane or tank in the game, you will probably perish before that happens. But if you spend somewhere between 65 and 75 euro, you can make a grand go from anywhere from 4 months to 14 months down to just 2 weeks. As you can probably tell, this is a big problem and annoyance, mostly annoyance. Me and many others don't want to spend absurd amount of money just to grind a nation all the way to top tier. Yes, I do expect that the free to play grind is hard, but I don't want it to be this hard. And for people about to comment, just play low to middle tier. No, I don't want to play low to middle tier. That's not what I play Warframe for. I play for cool, highest firearm Marvin gameplay in jets because that's what I enjoy. Oh boy. Squadron research. If you think normal research is slow, which it is, then you probably haven't researched a squadron vehicle. Most of the middle to high tier squadron vehicles take 2 months to get. More specifically, if you want to get a plane like the JF-17, you have to wait over 80 days while still playing the game actively. Or, you can just spend GE and get it instantly. This is a problem with something like the Pt.2 or a recently added plane, the JF-17, because you can either buy the squadron vehicle or grant it for 2 months. The reason I use the BMP2M and JF-17 as examples is because they are paid to get the advantage, especially with the JF-17. It was released recently, and any player can just buy it and get top tier immediately. Especially how the JF-17 was at launch, because it was kind of broken to some degree. Next up, probably the shortest segment, top tier. Top tier is just a lost cause, in my opinion. Like, unless Gaijin makes severe changes, then it's just gonna stay unfun for a while. It's just Fox 3 spam, and the F-15C and F-15JM in America and Japan are the best at this because they get 8 AMRAMs. But top tier could be fun with the next point, which is player count. 8v8 is something I've been dreaming about for a long time now. In my opinion, player count should be dependent on the BR of your match. So a 12-7 to 13-7 game, aka top tier, should have a max of 6 players, while a 2-0 to 3-0 game, for example, could have up to 20 players. This would 100% have to be tested first, but I think it's an interesting mechanic that could be implemented. Next up, premiums. I saw some guy talk about it in the comments, so I just wanted to kind of address that. This problem, I already kind of talked about earlier here, but where do I start? Premiums are, for high tier, cost twice as much as they're worth, in my opinion. High tier expensive premiums get constant changes or nerfs, such as the A5C recently getting a nerf right after a sale, the J35XS getting nerfs after sales, the MiG-23 ML and other MiG-23s getting nerfs right on sale times, and so much more like the F104. Gaijin never announces sales or nerfs before they happen, so if you're unlucky, you might just buy a premium, like it's nerfed into the ground a week after you buy it, and you just had no idea. Which happened to my friend recently, and I must say he got pretty mad. Next up, this one is very heated, but I think War Thunder is way too realistic. No, War Thunder is a realistic game to some degree. Big emphasis on some degree. But I must say that, in my opinion, War Thunder shouldn't be all about realism, especially not in arcade or realistic game modes. For people who want a really realistic game, just play DCS or Sim mode. But on of the other side of the coin, War Thunder is incredibly unrealistic in things such as pen for certain tanks, or entire flight models on planes, such as the F-16 overperforming and the MiG-29 underperforming. A game like War Thunder shouldn't be all about realism. Gaijin also has to think about balance. Next up, I I want to talk about the F-14. The F-14 added to the game, that was the first ever added, almost 3 years ago now, like over 2 years ago. 14A in America, they're all in America, but the F-14A, that was first added with with the AIM-54As should be at 12.7, at the very least, which it is now. But I think that if they get a few tweaks or small buffs, it could be 13.0. The F-14B would be fine at 13.3 right now, or it could get the 9M and get the 13.7 BR treatment. Now, some of you realistic people who are all about realism might tell me, hey, the F-14B didn't have the 9M, it shouldn't get the 9M. But I literally just said a few seconds ago War Thunder shouldn't be all about realism. I think there's also some balance that should be involved. So what I'm saying is either it could be 13.3 VR14B and just be as it is, or it could get the 9M and go all the way up to the highest tier. And the Iranian F14, the one recently added, should just be 13.3. No changes required. That's just that's just how it should be. So anyway, that was my follow up to my review. I only really made this because of a comment, which I might put on screen, I might not, but probably I definitely won't. But also because I wanted to just make a list and video of things I want to change in War Thunder. Most of these things probably won't change within our lifetimes, but one can pray and hope. If there's anything I missed, you can comment it. If there's anything you agree or disagree with, you can comment too. I don't mind the free algorithm boost, but please, I beg, be civil about commenting. Let's have intellectual discussions, not emotion-driven arguments. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed and have a great day. But if it's nighttime, I hope you have a horrible night and I hope you don't sleep at all tonight and you get a lobotomy.